Hi everyone, this is Yassi Rotlevi. I'm VP of Data Integration in Pepperi and one of its founders. So today it's the third session about the API. This session is focused on .NET developers, on client libraries. So we're going to go over the C# SDK, Pepperi's official C# SDK, which you can see in this page. You just need to click on the full solution, which includes all the other solutions, and you get you go to the GitHub link, and you can download from here the entire solution. So once you download it, you have it here, you have it on your desktop. You open the Pepperi API solution, and basically what you see is this. Okay. So what do you have? Let's go first and see what we have on the solution. What we have is first of all, we have the SDK itself. If you want to develop, you just need this solution, or you can compile it. You have only one DLL that you need to actually develop, and the other solutions are kind of helpers or demo applications. So there's the SDK. There's the model generator. The model generator is actually helping you to build your model. There is the default model that the SDK contains, which has the standard fields. For example, if we'll take the items, so all the items fields are here. If you want to bring over your customized field, so you'll need to go to Pepperi, add the customized field, and it's gonna add it to this model. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to run the demo console. It's the best way to start. This is what I recommend you to do. To start either with the demo console or with the WinForm sample. I think the demo console is better because you can start from scratch. So what you'll need to do is you need to go to Pepperi and to open up a new trial. Yeah, pepperi.com. You can just go here, and you have the free trial option. I'm not going to do it now, but basically you just fill in your details, and at the end, again, okay, just put in your details, and at the end you get a blank account, which I'm going to open now. Okay, so you get an empty account. The items looks like this. There's nothing inside, nothing in the dashboard. Basically, there's just nothing in this account. So I'm going to run now. I'm going to select the demo console as my startup project. I'm going to run it. It remembers your last token, your last API token. So in your case, it's gonna start with nothing. So I'm gonna type in no, and now you're actually typing in your username and password, the same username and password that you selected, that you typed in when you opened the account. So I'm going to type in my username, my blank demo username. Okay. Right. Now it's asking me if I want to generate the data or just skip to see my transaction. So obviously I want to generate the data because I have no data right now. And do I want to select the size of the data or just to use the default? So I'm using the default. So it's actually starting to upload the items. Finished uploading the items. I can go here already. See my entire items. Okay, I have it already. It's uploading images. So basically, it's uploading everything. It's uploading the accounts. It's giving you a very nice and good way to start working with the API, because you have all the data there, and all you need to do is basically translate this automatic data, this random data. You just need to change it and to put your own data, and here you have already a console application that, for example, if you have an ERP system, you just take it, you put in your data instead of the fake data, and you have already more or less ready to work with a plugin. So it uploaded all the data, including 5 sample images. Now it says, please log into Pepperi, view the uploaded data, then make a transaction, and once you submit, type below OK to see the transaction here. This is a good sample, because normally what you would do when you build a plugin, you would upload all your data into Pepperi from your system, and then you would want to get updates from Pepperi. Updates meaning submitted transactions. So for example, so if I have here an activity, okay, a transaction. Right now it's in creation mode. Okay, sales order. This sales order has some lines. It's all part of the fake data that we uploaded just a second ago. Okay, so I'm going to submit this sales order with these 5 lines, and in your plugin you would want to get this data and put it into your system. Okay, this is what you would want to do. So once it's going to end up submitting the order, I can type here OK, and I'm going to see this sales order coming from the API. So I have here the header and the lines. I got it from the API, and it turned, so right now I have no submitted orders. If I'll press OK now, I have nothing. Okay? Program updated the status field to simulate the integration process, so that only new submitted transaction will be displayed the next time you press OK. Okay? Now, there is another sample of the API. What if I want to see my last 30 days transaction? I don't want to get any. I don't want to get transactions every time they're submitted. I want to get all my 7 days ago, 30 days ago transactions. So I would type in yes. I will see how many transactions I have. I'm sorry. No, actually, I don't want to type another transaction. I'll type no to get to see all the transactions that I have in the system. So I have 1,000 transactions for the last day, and this was a demo program to help you integrate it quickly with Pepperi. So to summarize, what this program is doing for you, it's uploading the initial data, then you can submit an order, see the submitted order, and this order, and you have a sample of how to update the status so that you won't get this order again. And then you can see the total transactions between specific dates. For example, for the last 30 days. So I'm gonna go now to the actual code to explain how this is working. Okay, so basically, what this program does, it's first of all creating an API client. Then I'm going to go generally on the steps, and then I'm going to explain further details. It's asking if to generate data, or to ask you if to what kind of data you want to generate. Then it uploads the data, it populates the transaction changes from Pepperi to the ERP, and it prints a number of transactions in the last 30 days. This is what this program is doing. You would want to go into the data generator in order to actually replace the generating the data with your own data. So, for example, with items, instead of generating items, you would put in your own code and return the same list of items from your data. and the same for all other objects. So basically, you have a very good sample here of all the objects that this system is using, because in order to populate, in order to start working with Pepperi, you're going to have to upload items. You're going to have to upload. Normally, you need price lists because you have more than one pricing. You're going to need to upload all the different prices per price list. Then you're going to need to upload the inventory and the accounts, which is the customers and the context of the customers, and transactions, different transactions, transaction lines and activities and images. So if you drill down here, I'm not going to do it now, but if you drill down, you're going to see all the different objects, and actually all you need to do is to replace it, to make some kind of a select statement to your database, and to replace it with your data. So this is the constant application. Let's go now to the WinForm, which is a simpler application. It's also very good to start with, but it's better to start with after you saw already. It's better to see the sample only after you have already data, so you have something that you can present. You can feel it. So when it starts, it opens the latest token that I used. So I'm gonna put in my same credentials. Okay. Let's try to connect. All right, I'm connected. You can see that the token was changed. Now let's see my items. All right, I got all the items that I just uploaded. It's very fast, and you can see all your items here. I want to see the accounts. I'm going to get the accounts. Now, I'm not getting all the items and all the accounts. Actually, I'm getting all the items that the names has A inside. So in this case, everyone has the A inside. But you can put in different queries. You can, for example, if you go to items, and you have different prices. So for example, you don't want to get this item anymore because you want to get only items that the price is higher than 300. Okay. Let's see what I got here. So right now I don't have this item anymore. So that's the way that you can test the system, and you can see how the filtering is going. Now, this is a very simple simple program that you can go over it. Let's do it now. Actually, when you go to the form, to the sample, and you connect. So start by connecting. How do you connect to the API? So the first step is to create a private application, to create actually to get the token. Because normally, when you will work with the API, our recommendation is not to use the username and password. You only do it once, you get the token, and then you work with the token. So the first step is to get the token. So how do I get the token? I just go to private authentication. I have the namespace at the top. Okay, Pepperi SDK, helpers, model fixed. So I just need to type in get API token data, put in my base address, which is this. Okay, put in my developer key, which I got here. Okay, remember you have the My Apps. I'm not going to go through everything from the beginning because we already done it on the previous sessions. But you have your app, and inside your app you have the consumer, you have the keys, you have the consumer keys. So you just need to copy this key, and by default, actually, you can leave this. You don't need to replace it, only for your real application. This is a a working key for the SDK. You can use it. But once you have an application, obviously you need to use your own. You put in your base address. Just to go back to the developer key, please don't keep using it, because it's going to you're going to have certain limitations on the usability, on the how many times you can approach the API. So to avoid it, create your own application and use your own developer key. So this always stays the same. The base address, and once you created your application, you have your key. What's changing per customer per company is the token. So you need to get the tokens. You put in the base address, you put in the developer key, then you put in your email and password, and optionally you can put in a logger. Logger is just it's a nice object that you can use. You just create a new Pepperi logger. By default, what it does, it logs all the that's it working. There is a log that you can see everything that's going on, all the communication, all the HTTP communication that the plugin is actually doing. So it's very useful, because this is also how you learn to understand the REST API using the .NET code. So there are very few lines of code. When you start working, all you need to do, again, is to get your token, create, get back, when you call this function, get back an Pepperi API token data. Okay, in this case, we save it into a file, but you don't need to write these two lines. So there's the first line, get the token. Second line is create a new private authentication object, which gets in the constructor the developer key and the token that you just got before. And that's it. The third line is to create a new API client. You put in the base address and actually the private authentication token that you just created, and again the logger if you wish to use it. So it's again 3 lines of code: get the token, create a private application with a token, and create an API instance. This is it. 3 lines of code. Once you have the API client, you click on View Items, and all it does, it goes to Client Items Find. You can put in nothing here if you want to get everything. You're going to get all the data, but you have optional parameters. You can put in your where clause, your filter, then order by, everything that you're familiar from the developer website. Paging, page size, include nested, full mode, everything. You have all the different options here. And once you call this, you get a list of items, okay? And you just bind it, you just put it as the data source of this grid. So actually all we did here is 5 lines of code. We got first of all, we got the token, we created a new private authentication object, we created a new API client, and then it's 4 lines of code. And the fourth line is just items, client, items, find. This is it, 4 lines of code. And you have the items. The 5th line is already binding it. It's not part of the data, of getting the data, it's just binding it into the data grid. Okay? So you saw how we're getting data. I want to show you now how you can update the data. Okay, so you got the data. As I told you before, it remembers my last token, so I can see the data now with the latest token that I had. And okay, so let's go now and let's go now and change the price of one of the items. So there's two ways to update in Pepperi. One way is to update specific line, and another way is to update many lines, bulk upload. So if you just want to update a specific line and to change the price, for example, to 4,000 or 40,000, okay? So you just press Save Selected. Done. If I'll go now to my Pepperi account, manage items, let's see what happened. Okay. Let's see what item was. What was the item? Let's do view items again. See that the update really worked. Okay. So you can see that it was updated, and the item name is 403. 403. Where is it? 403. Let's look for it here. All right, you can see that the item was updated. It's very fast. It's really very fast, and just took time for me to find it. But that's the way it works. So you can actually update any field here. You can change the name. You can do anything. You can change the category. You can change even the external ID. And let's see the code of it. Okay, let's see how it works. Okay, let's see how it works. Save selected. I'm getting the row, the index of the row that was selected. I'm getting the item in this index, and it's actually one line of code. Client items upsert. Upsert takes the item. The item was already updated since the data grid updated the object as part of the binding, data binding, and that's it. So it's actually one command. It's one line of code, upsert. This is it. You change the item, you go here, you can change the item, give it a different price, okay? And the next line is just upsert. So that's the entire code. This is the whole code here. There's nothing really. It's very, very simple in simplifying the work with the API. Okay, so this is one way to update. The other way to update is save all. Save all means a bulk update. So if you remember well, our bulk upload works with actually in a tabular way. It means that you need to specify what columns you want to, what fields you want to update, and then you just upload as many as you wish. So the way it works is first you create a list of fields. Okay, you add fields. For example, I added here external ID, main category ID, and price. And I just I call bulk upload, send the items. I specify the override method, meaning if I wanna, if I would just wanna override, I wanna have only these three items, then or 4 items, or whatever. I just specify override full. In this case, I selected none, and selective is an option to override. It applies only for specific objects in Pepperi. For example, if you want to upload a transaction of specific type, it's going to upload only this specific type of transaction, not all the types of transactions. So it's not relevant for items, only for activities and accounts. So, and here you can select the behind the scene, how it's going to be uploaded. It's going to be uploaded through JSON or through zip. If you select a zip, you'll be able, and you select true. True means create a zip file in the debug folder. So here, if I'm going to use it, you'll see here soon a zip file just for you to see how the file is created. So let's run it, and let's change more than one price or a few customer names. I'm sorry, has to be items because I specified items, columns, names. So let's change few prices. Is it? Okay. Let's change here to 200, and then 300, 400, 500, and I want to update all of them now. Okay, so I'm going to press Save All. This is it. Present the items again. Here you see. So it's very fast, and it's fast not only for 4 lines or 5 lines. It's fast also for 1,000 lines. Works very fast. And I want to show you how it looks in Pepperi. Besides the fact that it obviously got updated, again, we're going to need to search for it if you want to see it. It's the item names are, it's 406, 405. We're going to need to go here and search for example, 406. Okay, this is a 400, the one that we just did before. Okay, 406. And I want to show you, when you use the bulk option, you can actually see the files created here, as if you uploaded. There is a log of the files. So as you can see, this is the file that I just uploaded before. I'm just going to get my power. Okay, so we're back. And here you can see this is the file that I uploaded before. So I uploaded actually 100 lines because I uploaded the entire lines that were on the data grid. And if I download it, you'll be able to see how it was uploaded to Pepperi. Sorry. Okay, so this is, you see the 400, 200, 300, 400. Okay, it's all here. And this, it gives you a good tool to track and to see if there are any problems. Okay, so let's now go over the code and understand what I did here. If I press Save All, again, it's a very short code. You would need, if you work with any other kind of tool, you would need much more lines of code. And this is the whole purpose of the SDK, to make life easier for you. So you just specify the fields you want to upload. You call bulk upload. You send the items, and this is where all these lines we already discussed before, and the line that I didn't show you before is the wait for bulk job to complete. What it does, it actually starts querying our API every second, every 2 seconds, and at the end, when it finishes, it returns back a get bulk job info response with all the data inside. So you can see the status and other properties. Okay, so I think we're done with this sample. The filter query I already showed you. So let's go now to the. So again, start. What I recommend is start with the demo console. Just upload. Don't even look inside. Just upload all the data. Create a new trial. Run the demo console. Then run the WinForm sample, and then go to the model generator. Why? Because the model generator is a good tool for you if you want to. Normally, almost any customers of us is adding custom fields. So I want to show you how the model generator is working. Right now I have no custom field. I'm going to add a custom field. Let's call it sample custom 1. Okay? I'm going to save it now. And I'm going to run the model generator. Okay? I'm setting it as a starter project and I'm running it. So once again, it's starting it's asked me for username and password to say it's the same ID. I'm going to put in my username and password. Yeah. Okay, and my password test. All right. Now I'm going to press yes to generate the model. So this is just a debug, log. Actually, it tells you just that it's running. And once it's going to end, you're going to see that it created. You see open operation completed successfully. I'm going to go now to my items model, the SDK, and you will see now that the item has another field, TSA sample custom 1. So when I'm going to go here to my item, I can now change my TSA custom 1 and give it a different value. Okay, so this is very convenient. It's very convenient, and the same obviously, of course, when I will run it, I'll sit in the grid as well. Okay, so this is very convenient. Data generator, I recommend you to use it because normally you will have custom fields, and it takes the type of the field. Right now it was string, but if you make it double, you make it integer, you will get the type, and all it does actually, it connects to our API, our metadata API that I showed you under our two previous sessions. The API, each object, each resource has a metadata API. For example, the items has get items metadata, so it retrieves all the different fields with the types. So this is actually what we do here behind the scene. If you go to the generator, you'll be able to see the code and to understand how it works. It's very easy to understand. Okay, so we went through the console, demo console, the model generator, and the WinForm sample. I want to go a little bit deeper to the SDK to explain how it's working. Basically, the SDK, what it does, it has a base endpoint that you should be familiar with. Okay, and the best endpoint does all the work. So if you want to drill down and understand how it works and understand how we communicate with the REST API, I recommend you going into the base address. It has everything. It has the upsert function. It has the find action function, which is similar to all our endpoints, the get and the bulk and everything, and all the other endpoints are just inheriting from this this endpoint, this base class, and what they really have mainly is the name of the endpoint. We have basically the name of the endpoint, and this is it. Actually, this is what they have. So what you should be familiar more if you want to drill down and understand better the code is the base endpoint. Okay. Okay, so we're almost done here. Another last thing that I want to go over with you is the Pepperi test MVC. So there are two important things in the MVC in the web application. One controller is the OAuth controller, which I'm not going to explain in details now because it's important more for our public applications. As you saw before, we have our API client accepts a parameter of authentication parameters. So this authentication parameter must interface the I authentication. So the public authentication is the same idea of the private authentication, just that because they're both implement the interface of I-authentication, and if you're a public application, you're going to need to use it. But if you're not a public application, you don't need it. So I'm not going to focus on it. But I'm just going to tell you that once you want to get public, once you want to register your plugin on our store, you must use the OAuth 2 authentication. It's not a very complicated process. You can use the test MVC. You need to be familiar with. I don't want to go into it now because you need to first of all be familiar with the concept of OAuth. But once you're familiar with it, it's very easy. There's not many lines of code here, as you can see, and you're just creating a new public application and you're redirecting to our OAuth endpoint, and then you can use the token to actually present the data. In this page, this is a sample how you use the token that you get back from the OAuth and you present the data. So it requires a knowledge of OAuth 2. I don't want to go over it now. I'll go over it with any of you developers that want to publish on our integration directory. You're going to have to use the OAuth, and then our team will go over with you and will explain you any needed explanation and details about this demo. So what I would like to go over with you is the demo webhook control, which many of you will need to use. What is this, a webhook? So a webhook is another way of working with our API. If you go to the Developer Center, on the first steps, one of the explanations is webhook. A webhook is a useful tool for the apps that want to interact with Pepperi in real time by executing their code immediately when a specific workflow event happens on a Pepperi account. For example, after a sales rep creates a sales order on a mobile app, or a customer checks out a card on the storefront. So that normally, if you're not using it, you're going to have, like it says here, instead of telling your app to make an API call every X number of minutes to check if a data update has occurred in Pepperi, you can register a webhook as part of a workflow which sends an HTTP request from Pepperi telling your app that data update has occurred. So what happens when you send a webhook? What happens when you send a webhook is you get, when our app fires a webhook, you get this kind of object, a JSON object. And you can go here and see how this object looks like. And the main thing is the data. You get the data, and part of the data is the URI. And you can see what resource sent the data, if it's an account, if it's a transaction. You get the ID. So as you can see here, this is the data that we send. Okay, this is the data. And if I'm going to go now to Postman, I'm going to post this data. So first I'm going to run. What you need to do, you need to set this project as a starter project. And let's see now what happens. So Pepperi will fire will trigger this object to you when an account will be updated. For example, user number 123 will change his name or whatever. So you're going to get the ID of the user. Sorry, an account number 173331 will be changed. So you get the external ID and you get the ID of the account. And now, if you want to know what happened, you need to call the API and understand what happened. Okay. So in Pepperi, how you do it? You go to the if it's an account, if it's a sales activity, the sales activity, and you have a webhook, and inside the webhook you can put in your URL. You can also use the online add-ons. This is the old way of the Pepperi that it used to work before, and you type in your URL, and this triggers a call to your you type in just the URL that you're waiting in, and it's going and when I press submit transaction, it's going to trigger with the transaction ID. I'm going to have the transaction ID here, and here is going to say transactions, the number of the transaction ID. So let's try to do it. First of all, let's run it. Okay, and here we got the object. Okay, I have all the data inside, and this is the most important thing. I have the external ID, the ID, and now I can query it. This is just a sample of how you, what kind of responses you need to make. So you can send here, just to give you a sense of understanding how this is working. You can check signature or not. If you put in Pepperi signature, then you can a private key. It signs using SHA-256. It signs over the entire payload, and you can verify. You have a code here to verify the signature, and it also explains here what kind of object you need to send as response. Pepperi webhook response. This is what you are expected to send. Success, HTML response, async callback, and timeout. So the timestamp is not really very important, but the three first items are very important. Success or not, meaning if if our workflow will keep working or keep going to the next step, or we'll stop at this step. HTML response is if you can return an HTML, a full HTML, and it's going to be displayed, popped up to the user. And async callback, it's important in case you want to tell Pepperi, listen, I got the update, I got the trigger, it's a very long process. My transaction takes 30 minutes to process. Call me back and try to find out if I finished or not only after 30 minutes. So in this case, you're going to need to tell Pepperi how many seconds to start after, for example, after 30 minutes, okay? And what's the how much time between each call to wait? For example, I want to start only after 30 minutes, but I don't want it to kill my web services, and I want you to check only once in 10 seconds and not once in a second. So this is a practical way of working with a very long processes, such as the transaction that takes long or does many actions inside. So you have the entire sample here, and again you can download it from you go to the client libraries. You have the full solution. It takes you to the GitHub, and here you can download everything. And I really hope that you understand everything was clear to you in this session. We covered many items here, but once you download it and you and you debug the application, I believe it's going to be very easy and smooth for you to work with. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed, and happy integrating. Bye-bye.